Welcome to Aligned and Soulful Leadership. My name is Kavita Melwani, and I empower soulful, multicultural women of color to opulently shine their light without the hustle. I truly believe you can fulfill your soul's desire without losing yourself, your health, or your life in the process. I know that you can ignite your confidence and know your worth, all while walking your divine, unique path. So in this podcast, I will dive deep into topics, challenges, and blocks that women of color experience as they rise up into their aligned life and work. My deep desire is that BIPOC women can lead through their inner wisdom in a way that honors their soul. Are you ready to rise up as the leader you were born to be? Then this podcast is for you. As we are embarking on the holiday season, as women, leaders, women of color, it's so important for you to continue to take care of yourself during this time. So it may seem like a cliche to continue self-care. Maybe images of being at the spa or massages come up when I say those words. But that is not what this episode is about. In this episode, I am going to go deeper into how to take care of yourself during the holiday season. And I'm going to give you a 3-step process to help you take care of yourself, as well as end with a visualization that you can use to help you through that 3-step process. So if you want something simple, some simple strategies that you can use over the holidays to ground yourself, to be present, to be able to get the most out of this time, then keep listening. So how are you feeling right now? Even just the title of this episode might trigger some feelings within you. The feelings that we have about certain times of the year, the feelings that we have about a season. Those are a lot of times they come from our own past experiences, and they come and stem from our beliefs about the time. And for women, it is even more complicated because we tend to have certain obligations that we feel we have to fulfill. And then add to that, if you are from a family where this season is celebrated and seen and acknowledged a little differently than the greater culture that surrounds us, then that creates another layer of this disharmony within. Okay. And so sometimes it can even result in you trying to not only honor your family of origins, traditions, and preserve those things that you were taught that was important. It also can feel stressful because you're wanting to fit into the greater culture, and maybe you want to adopt some of those traditions around you, and maybe you're trying to do both. And so that it can create a lot of stress, a lot of pressure that actually is self-imposed. So the first place to go before we start to go into the process of what to do during the holidays, this is the kind of pre-work, right? I really want you to go into your body and notice how you're feeling about this time of year. Just take a moment, close your eyes, and know how you feel. Now, if you're doing something that you can't close your eyes, just take a moment and pause and feel. Maybe there's a part of your body that you're feeling an emotion. Maybe it's in your whole body. Maybe for you, your shoulders start to get stressed and they start to go higher. What are the feelings that come up for you when you think about this time of year? Okay, and so there tends to be a lot of pressure to do certain things and to fulfill certain obligations, and that can sometimes create for women that weight, right, that we can carry. So we've been going through a very interesting time, and I'm willing to bet that last year for you, the holiday season was different. You probably had a different type of holiday last year, and this year it is seemingly more similar to how things were before last year. Okay, so maybe for you that's the case. That's what I'm seeing in my own life, and I'm seeing for the people around me. And so even though a lot of us might be starting to go into our old patterns of what we did during this time of year, how we felt during this time of year, there is actually an opportunity. We have an opportunity to shift and change how this shows up for us, how we show up, and how we experience this time of year. So really go into how you're feeling right now. You can even have the compare and contrast of last year. So some people, last year was very painful, and for some people it was very restful. So you have your own individual experience of that. So giving yourself a few moments to compare and contrast how it was for you before, how you feel right now, and most likely how you're feeling right now is similar to how you felt before last year. So the first part of this is to step into how you really want to feel. How is it that you want to feel this holidays season? You actually get to pick. You get to pick how you want to feel. If you could just set aside everything that you have to do or you think you have to do, the familial obligations and work obligations, maybe there's deadlines for this time of year for you, whatever is going on, if you could set that aside for a few moments and really pick how you want to feel, what would you want that to be like? What would your feeling or feelings be that you would like during this time of year? For some people, that's rejuvenation. For others, it's joy. For others, it's connection. And I'm going to say connection is even more important now because we've probably spent a lot of time feeling disconnected. So this is an opportunity for you to choose how you want to feel. How do you want to feel during this time? And then once you choose how you want to feel, you can really take an honest look at how you're spending your time, how you're spending your money, and how you're spending your energy during this time. Because maybe the thoughts you think about what is important to you is one thing, but then the act that you're doing, the how you're actually spending time, energy, money doesn't match. So that can create kind of a distrust of ourselves. So be clear about how you want to feel, and then look at how you're actually spending your time, money, energy. And most likely there's a disconnect between those two things. And we actually have an opportunity every time to create a different experience, although our default is to just continue to recreate what we've already created. Okay? You can actually be consciously creating a new experience for you during this time. And to start to see how your time, money, and energy is being spent that is in disharmony with what you want to feel and what your values are, and shift those. Okay, so this is the opportunity. How do you know? Look at your bank account, look at your credit card statements. What are you spending money on? Right? What have you been spending money on? How are you spending your day? Take an honest look at your calendar and how are you spending your precious life? How are you spending that time? That's going to tell you how you're acting. And you are going to notice some disharmony between how you're spending your day, how you're spending your money, and how you want to feel. So then there's the opportunity to choose differently. how can you shift first maybe some traditions? Okay, so we're going to start with the traditions. What are some traditions that you take part in during this time of year based on your culture? And, maybe you want to write that down. If you're in a place to write that down, maybe make a mental note. And so what of those things really match how you want to feel? What of those traditions match how you want to feel during this time of year, and what doesn't? So the ones that don't, how can you let go of those? And the answer might be just not to do them, right? Or maybe you have a different solution, but really letting go of those things that you've been doing just because that's what you've always done is a great way to be more mindful and conscious and choose how you want to spend your time, money, energy. And then maybe there's some things that you would like to do that would enhance the feelings that you want to feel during this time. But in the past, you just couldn't because you had all these other things that you've chosen to spend time, money, energy on. So are there some traditions that you want to incorporate? Maybe, I've heard from a lot of people that they would like to do some kind of toy drive, but they've always so busy with their own stuff. Okay. Maybe for you, it's you want to spend one of the evenings with your family and set your goals for next year. Maybe those are some of the things that you'd like to do, but you haven't been doing because of all the other stuff. So really create a list, consciously choose what you're going to do. What are your traditions that you want to keep with during this time? The other thing is with relationships and people. So for a lot of us last year, we did not spend our time with all the people that we usually spend, right? Maybe you had the opportunity to spend with some people and maybe not with others. And now this year is an opportunity for you to really evaluate which of those people are people that are in alignment with you right now. So there's not about like bad or good people, right? I'm not bringing that up. What I'm saying is there are certain people that, that those relationships are no longer serving either of you. And they did at one time. Okay, so maybe they aren't anymore. So what are some of those relationships and people that you spend time with that are not in alignment with how you want to feel, that are not in alignment with your values? This is actually a really big opening and an opportunity to pick differently and to pick and reevaluate those relationships. And so you can consciously create what you want. So those are kind of like the pre-steps. I'm going to review them and then we're going to go into the 3-step process. Okay. So the first step is noticing how you feel right now when you think about the upcoming holidays or the holidays. How are you spending your time, energy, money right now, or how have you in the past? How do you want to feel? And how does how you want to feel not match how you're spending your time, energy, money, and your traditions? Take a look at the traditions that you are upholding. Maybe some of them were from your culture of origin, your family of origin, and you feel a sense of obligation to those and you feel like you have to continue those. But really, are they in alignment with what you want to feel? And then bringing in potentially new things that you want to experience during this time of year that you haven't done. So really, really consciously choosing those traditions, consciously choosing what you want to focus on, consciously choosing how you want to spend your time. Okay, so those are the pre-steps. And if you're not sure, then you look at how you're actually spending your money and time. Look at your calendar, look at your credit card. And the other pre-step is to reevaluate the relationships and look at your relationships that you really do want to continue, that you really do want to spend time with these people. Okay. And once you've kind of created that framework, right, like the pre-process, then these are the 3 steps that I want you to take during this time. Okay. So what I'm talking about is what you're going to do when you can, as soon as possible, right, to create the framework. And then now, while you're in these times, if you're taking on energy of others, if someone from your family makes you or tries to make you feel guilty because you're not doing a tradition and you don't want to participate, then the first step is to get back in your body and to ground. Okay. So people talk about grounding, and a lot of times when I used to hear this in the past, I didn't know what that meant. And for me, grounding is the way I can describe it best is feeling fully present in your body and feeling present where you are. Okay. Whereas, you have the experience where you're somewhere, but you're thinking about something else. You're really not fully present, right? That's not grounded. And one of the ways to feel grounded is to just do this scan of your body from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes. Just feel your entire body. And that's a quick way to ground yourself, right? So just taking a couple breaths and feeling your body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And if you really look, that didn't take very long. It took like maybe 10 seconds. Okay, so you can practice this throughout your day. One technique is to set a reminder to ground yourself if that doesn't come naturally. Maybe you set that intention that every time you look at your phone, you're going to make sure you're grounded, right? Which could be a lot of times, because I think I just saw a documentary that we look at our phones like 100 times or something crazy like that a day, or even more. So maybe that doesn't work, but really something that is you're going to do automatically, right? And you associate that grounding to that activity that you're going to do. So the first step in working through the holidays and being present and joyous and having the feeling that you want to feel is to be present, to ground. The second step is to slow down. Okay, so if you're present and paying attention to what's going on, if you've done the pre-work and you've set the framework of how you want to spend the holidays, then the idea is slow down. You don't have to rush from thing to thing. And if you're doing that, then you need to look at how you're spending your time. Slow down the process. How can you really be present and enjoy some of the things that you like to do? So I know in the past, my kids used to like to make gingerbread cookies. Now, I don't know how to do that. I didn't. And I didn't grow up doing that. And so it was something that they really wanted to do. And I remember thinking about, okay, now I have to get the ingredients and all the things, and how am I going to do that with all the other things I have to do? And, the list goes on. And, I was thinking about that tradition this year and how much fun it could be if it wasn't like that. But we really didn't have the space to do anything like that because of the other things. So what are some things that I can really let go of so that we can have that experience and that fun memory for them and for me, and this time that I get to spend with them in a way that creates those deep bonds, right? It's an activity. So that's just a quick example. I mean, you don't have to do that, right? That's just an example of something that for me was like another obligation, and it was a stress where I can see it differently and maybe focus on that and let go of other things. Okay. And so slowing down is going to help me with that process, right? If I slow down, only then will I have the time and space for these other things. So first, grounding during your day, slowing down. And the third step is continue to reprioritize. So as you're moving through the holidays, you've created this framework. You've decided what you want to focus on. You've maybe reduced some traditions and incorporated new ones. And you're thinking about the relationships. And then you're in the holidays and you're maybe in the middle of it, or one of these days you're looking at what you're doing and you're like, this is actually not as important as I thought. What I have planned tomorrow, I really don't want to do. It doesn't fit how I want to feel. So I'm just going to reprioritize. And I'm going to put that last on that list. And if I get to it, great. And if I don't, that's also okay. So, pre-work, 3-step process, ground, slow down, reprioritize as you go. So I want to wish you a wonderful season of feeling the things that you want to feel, consciously creating what you want to create. And so I want to end this episode with a visualization. Okay, and so if you are listening to this driving or doing some other activity, you can pause it now and listen to it later, or you can listen to it now and then go back and re-listen. Okay, so it's allowing yourself a few deep breaths and closing your eyes and paying attention to your body from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes and feeling yourself, feeling how you're feeling, noticing how you're feeling without trying to change anything. And first notice how your body is in space. Is it leaning forward? Is it leaning back? So are you living in the past, living in the future? Or are you here in the present? So if you're leaning back or forward, recentering yourself. And with the next breath, bringing up how you want to feel during the holiday season. What are the dominant feeling or feelings that you want during this time? And starting to feel that now. So bringing in that feeling in your body, into your heart center. What if you felt that right now in this moment? So allowing that feeling to come in. And as that feeling is coming into your body, allowing any thoughts or feelings to fall away. Just continuing to breathe in the feeling. And so as this feeling is coming in, asking yourself, how can I create this for myself during this season? So maybe a word comes, maybe a symbol, maybe a thought, an idea. And if it doesn't come right now, that's okay. Know that it will. So receiving that. And again, breathing in the feeling of what you want to feel. And then taking a moment and imagining yourself in the new year. Maybe even imagine what you might be wearing. And you're reflecting back over the holidays. And you're feeling what you want to feel. And you're so grateful that you got to experience that. And that you created that for yourself as a powerful being. So imagining yourself in the new year, reflecting back positively with gratitude. So embodying that feeling. And now you have a choice. You can sit here with that vision, with the feeling. And if you're able to, and some thoughts and symbols come to you, write it down. And if you want to get in touch with me and you're curious about any of those things that came up, I'm happy to respond. And if you'd like to stay in this for longer, continuing to stay with your eyes closed. And if you're ready to open your eyes, then doing so right now and taking a few deep breaths. And so until next time, take good care. Bye. Thank you for joining me for Aligned and Soulful Leadership. I was inspired to start this podcast as a way to empower women of color to rise up into their aligned leadership. Remember, I will have all the resources I mentioned during this episode available in the show notes at alignedandsoulfulpodcast.com. I'm your host, Kavita, and if you enjoyed this podcast, please tell your friends. And if you haven't received my free abundance meditation and exercise, then go to alignedandsoulfulleadership.com and subscribe to my newsletter, and you will receive this powerful visualization and exercise to ignite your abundant life. Thank you. Until next time, take good care.